Welcome to Land of the Bible. I'm Paul Hyams, and today we'll be exploring the city on the hill. Welcome to Sussita. High above the eastern shores of the Sea of Galilee, the Kinneret, lies one of Israel's most breathtaking archaeological sites. This is the National Park of Sussita. It was a city that had power, faith, and culture that began during the Second Temple period and continued right up until the middle of the 8th century during early Christianity. In this episode, we'll climb the heights of Sussita to uncover the city where pagan temples, Roman theaters, and early Christian churches once stood side by side. As we continue to walk up towards the main entrance of Sussita, we can see here what remains of the destruction of the entire city going back to the 8th century. It's pretty cool. It's still sitting as it was in situ for 1300 years. Why did the builders of Sussita decide to build on this particular mountaintop? Well, it's 350 meters, which is about 1,000 feet above the Sea of Galilee. So military-wise, we have the outlook, we have the ability to keep an eye on everything going on. But most importantly was the vital trade routes bringing goods from Syria through the land of Israel into the Mediterranean basin. And right here was where they were able to control that route. Without a doubt, looming up here, everybody knew who was in charge. Just over my shoulder, on the western shores of the Kinneret, you have the city of Tiberias. Tiberias was founded in the 1st century by Herod Antipas. It was a central part of Jewish life, and 2,000 years later, it continues to be one of the 4 holy cities of Israel. Now, just to the north of that, we have what is today Migdal, but then, 2,000 years ago, it was Magdala, the home of Mary Magdalene. And then on the very northern end of the Kinneret, the shores themselves hold the city of Capernaum, Kfar Nahum, the very base of operations for Jesus. I want to take you back a couple thousand years, right to the time that the Romans were living here. Imagine you're a Roman soldier and you're going down these steep hills by horse, and you're going down to meet the local villages on the shoreline of the Sea of Galilee. And you get down there and you don't understand what they're saying. They're speaking a different language. They're a different culture. You're not sure who they are. Then you realize that they're fishermen and they're mending their nets. You offer them food. They refuse to eat the food that you have. This is all very confusing for you as a Roman. You see, it was a world of 2 completely different realities. The polished stones of the Roman Empire above and the dusty faith of the villages below. In January 749, the city was abruptly destroyed by a massive earthquake that shook the region. Water reservoirs cracked, sidewalks were split, buildings collapsed. It was the end of Sussita as we know it. The city would lay in ruins forever. This is a very poignant reminder of the impermanence of humanity and the fact that a mountaintop that they thought was going to protect them, the unassailable mountain, would end up being the one thing that shook them into oblivion. Standing here on the back of this horse, for Sussita in Aramaic literally means horse, we don't just see the beautiful view of the Kinneret and the Galilee and the mountains of the Golan Heights. What we see is the battlefield for ideas. You see, from up here, the clash of empires and cultures is going to be uncovered. Today, we're going to dig into that story and discover the clash of the empires and the faith that has ultimately outlasted them all.
Imagine walking where Jesus walked, where faith comes to life. Feel the Bible story unfold around you, from the green Galilee to Jerusalem's ancient streets. Experience the serene and welcoming land of the Bible, where miracles happen. Put your heart where His footsteps are. Visit Israel.
Now I want to take you back a couple thousand years to the time of Jesus. You see, just on the northern shore, Jesus was teaching, "Blessed are the meek, they shall inherit the earth," just a couple kilometers away from us. But while we're up here, the priests of Sussita were praying to gods like Tiki and Zeus for fortune and power. One was a faith of humility, while the other was a religion of self-indulgence and power. Before the fall of Sussita, the city was a glittering jewel of pagan culture. Let's go walk the streets and see the glory of the empire that once was. Walking through these streets, you could literally feel the history through your feet. You see, this was the pinnacle of pagan civilization, the sophistication that they brought here to dig a grid system of streets into the mountain itself, gave them the power that they could tame nature itself. The Romans built like an iron grid system. It was a common design that they did in any city around the world. You see, they built the Cardo, which was the main north-south road, and the Decumanus, which is the main east-west road, which is exactly what I'm walking on right now. This grid system then split the city up into blocks or insula. Now, why is Sussita's Decumanus so unique compared to places, let's say, like Jerusalem or Rome itself? Well, I'll tell you. Because of the geographical shape of this mountaintop, we don't have the distance to make the Cardo the main route. So instead, the Decumanus became the Decumanus Maximus. With only 250 meters from north to south, which is about 750 feet, it's not enough for a main road. So the east to west line, which is the way the mountain goes, is over 650 meters. That's about 2,000 feet, which is why the Decumanus here in Sussita became the Decumanus Maximus, and the Cardo was just a couple hundred meters north to south. continue to show you more examples of how much effort was put into building this place, I stopped here inside the Basilica. The Basilica was one of the biggest buildings on the entire mountaintop and in any city. This particular one was over 17 meters in height. That's over 50 feet. And look at this capital, just one of many holding up this structure, was so beautifully carved. Look at the intricate work of the basalt carvings. Now again, we've told you that this was not easy to carve into, but here we can see how much time and effort and skill was put into the artisan's effort to make this Corinthian capital one of just many of them in the Basilica here in Sussita. Excavations over the years have revealed a number of temples here in Sussita. I'm standing now on the main one, on the very first step in the forum. What we have here is a temple that would have been used to dedicate prayers and sacrifices to Tiki, the god of fortune and luck, to Zeus, the god of gods, and even to Dionysus, the god of wine and ecstasy. Through these excavations, we're able to learn of their values: power, chance, and pleasure. They spared no expense when they built Sussita. They even went and used basalt as the main building blocks. Now, basalt is actually a very tough and difficult stone to work with. And look around me as I walk through what is the forum. The forum was a main commercial area. It was a marketplace. It was an area for commoners to hang out, disputes to be settled, or people to come and give worship to whatever the local god was, towards the emperor or Dionysus or any of the other Greek gods that were being worshipped. Around us here is such a special place. You can really see the effort and the investment that was put in building Sussita. The Romans also built here an Odeon, a theater. The one here sat about 3,000 people. That's a lot of people. What did they use it for? Well, the plays that they performed were disseminating their message of their culture, their power, and their worldview. A complete contrast to the synagogues below us in the shores of the Kinneret, where they would learn the Bible stories and those of our forefathers. The Roman city of Sussita had such a high status and privilege among society that they even minted their own coins. Now these coins were printed with faces of emperors alongside deities such as Zeus or Tiki, or even the city's symbol, the horse, Hippos. Having graven images on these coins was actually a big problem for the Jewish people that used these coins for commerce, because it violates the second commandment to not make graven images of gods. Ultimately, the city of power and pagan gods that felt they were unshakable was about to be moved from within. A power that was going to change the very infrastructure of the city. Something rising from the shores of the Kinneret that inevitably would change the entire world, faith, and how religion is practiced. The story of Sussita takes a dramatic and beautiful turn right here. Centuries after Jesus walked the shores of the Kinneret below us, Christian faith had grown, and what once stood the temples to Zeus and Tiki were now silent. For on their grounds now stood not one, but 8 different churches right here in Sussita. Standing on this pedestal in the middle of this structure, even though that it's been destroyed, you can really feel the sense of awe and grandeur and investment they put into building this place. You see, this was the main basilica, the main cathedral, and adjacent to it were 2 really huge baptismal pools, probably the biggest ones in the entire Middle East. And they're right here in front of me with natural water and beautifully done mosaic floors. This place was magnificent. It was built in a classic basilica style. Main nave, side aisles, even a baptistry room on the side. The columns here are absolutely gorgeous. The size and shape of them made from granite, marble, and rock that's not even natural to the land. It had to be brought in from places like Cyprus and Asia Minor, across the Mediterranean, and across the whole land just to be brought up to this mountaintop. Gorgeous mosaic floors, and 8 different churches show us how important Christianity had become. The old pagan power had been overtaken by the new faith of Christianity, which is now setting its roots in the old empire. During the excavations, archaeologists found just off the side of the main church here, this baptistry that I'm standing in right now. It is probably the biggest baptistry, not just in Israel in the land here, but also in the entire region. It's not just an architectural wonder. This site was one of personal transformation. It's astonishing the number of churches that were found right here in Sussita. For a city this small, that's a lot of churches. What this shows us is a complete turnaround from the once very, very pagan city to a city now covered with basilicas off the main streets. When archaeologists got to this section and they dusted away the dirt over the mosaics, they found some of the most gorgeous mosaics in the country. Beautiful geometric shapes, patterns of flowers. But what they got really excited about was inscriptions with writing. And this particular inscription I'm standing in front of is a Greek inscription with a dedication. What we see now are the stones themselves proclaiming Christianity. Right here in this apse is something very unique. This is the original lead pipe that brought water all the way to this baptismal font. And right here underneath me is the original cross-shaped pool, the font itself, that was used for thousands upon thousands of people wanting to get baptized and join the Christian faith. The Gospels did not destroy Sussita, they redeemed it. The living city of Sussita ended in 749 with a massive earthquake. But the city's story wasn't over. It lay in silence for over a millennia until a new people would come along and uncover its secrets.
I will bless those who bless you, God promised Abraham. Embrace this covenant by connecting with the people of Israel. From Jerusalem's stones to Galilee's shores, experience living faith through their traditions and hospitality. Your journey is more than visiting biblical sites. It's about hearts that welcome your friendship. Your presence matters. Discover Israel.
From this vantage point, we can see the full, breathtaking view of history. From what was a pagan city to a thriving Byzantine town, to silence. For 1,200 years, this city remained in rubble and ruins under dirt. For over 1,200 years, the city was lost to time. Its rediscovery and restoration is a story that is tied to the modern miracle of the land below, and that is the rebirth of the State of Israel. The story of modern archaeology here is in itself an amazing story. You see, it wasn't until the 19th century that archaeologists rediscovered this site. But it wasn't until after 1948 that major excavation work began. The meticulous and scientific excavations that have taken place here for decades at Sussita have been led by the archaeologists from the University of Haifa. The people of Israel, after having returned to our land, have become the guardians and the interpreters of its history. For decades, the dirt here has been giving up its secrets. Archaeologists have found Roman glass, Roman lamps to light up Roman homes, glass utensils, weights from the marketplace, and countless coins that help us date the layers of history. Each find is a puzzle piece, carefully fitted together to tell the complete story of this place. Unlike previous empires of the past that tried to remove other cultures, Israel works very hard to preserve and understand the layers of the past. The Jewish state works to protect and commemorate the Christian and pagan history of Sussita, just like it does with Jewish sites like Masada. This is a testament to the value that Israel places on the shared history of the Christian world. Sussita's journey is a microcosm of the land's story. It's seen empires rise with great pride and then fall into dust. It saw the transformative power of the gospel, born from Judaism, take root and rise throughout the land. And now it is preserved by the restored nation of Israel. This mountaintop is a lesson of humility and hope. It shows the failure of man-made kingdoms and the miraculous enduring power of God's promise to his people. Look down now. The view from Sussita, today it's not one of domination, but of life. You can see the kibbutzim, you can see the towns of modern Israel, you can see the fields blossoming, and you can see the desert blooming as a rose, just as the prophet Isaiah said it would. The villages that were once looked down upon by this fortress are now part of a living, thriving, breathing, and free nation. The legacy of Sussita is not one of dominance and clash, but one of continuity. And it is a continuity that will endure with the sovereign state of Israel. Welcome to Land of the Bible. Today, we're going to be exploring Israel's national parks here in the north of the Galilee.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to join us next time as we continue to connect you to the people, places, and land of the Bible.